If you watched my previous video, then you know the ego is the source of all our suffering. In fact, I would argue that being caught up in and identified with the egoic sense of a separate self, well, that's the very definition of suffering, because it leads to all of our attachments, our aversions, our self-centeredness, and even the arrogance of pride. The ego is relentless. As we chase fleeting pleasures, it fuels our desires and fears, but I'm here to tell you there's a way out of this separation, this false self. After all, the ego's merely an illusion. It's a sense of me against the world, but we need to recognize the ego for what it is. It seeks to divide, it feeds on comparison and judgment, it thrives on conflict and drama, all the while craving validation. This is all part of the ego's game. It's a game of delusion and suffering that it plays to prop itself up and to sustain itself. The ego may be the source of our greatest joys, but it's also the source of our deepest sorrows, and it thrives either way. Both our happiness and our pain are equally welcome in the ego's game, just so long as it remains the center focus of our lives. But the truth is, there's no permanent independent self or ego. It's all a mental fabrication. The ego's game is all smoke and mirrors, and once you see the ego for what it is, the game will just fall apart. The whole thing will come tumbling down like a house of cards. So how do we end the game? How do we overcome identification and attachment to the false notion of a permanent, independent self? Or to put it differently, how do we break free from the relentless patterns of thoughts and emotions that keep us trapped in cycles of negativity and discord? That is, how do we overcome our self-delusions and find liberation? Well, breaking free requires courage, and it demands honesty. It also demands humility. We have to face our ego head on. We have to be willing to peer into the dark corners and face ourselves. But it also means recognizing our shared humanity as an independent part of the vast interconnected web of life. It means understanding impermanence and the transient nature of all our fleeting experiences. It means understanding the transient nature of the self. It means transcending the ego and realizing the true nature of reality. This is how we find lasting peace. Well, every spiritual awakening is a miraculous act of grace that often happens suddenly and unexpectedly. The secret is that there really is no secret. This path requires dedication and commitment, determination and perseverance. We have to transcend our ignorance, our craving, and our aversions, which are the root causes of our suffering. And the antidote to egoic suffering is the cultivation of wisdom and compassion through regular study, spiritual practice, and meditation. These are the three keys that inevitably lead to liberation and lasting fulfillment. Remember always these three keys: study, practice, and meditation. According to the Tibetan master Tsongkhapa, wisdom is the supreme lamp dispelling the darkness of delusion. Just as a lamp illuminates what was previously obscured by darkness, wisdom shines a light on the true nature of reality, revealing what was hidden from us all along. Wisdom, suffused with compassion, is the most essential of all qualities. So what do? Well, fortunately, we can actively cultivate wisdom by developing a strong foundation of knowledge and immersing ourselves in the study of spiritual teachings, scriptures, and the insights of realized masters. Study and learning provides the intellectual foundations we need to acquire wisdom that comes through contemplation, reflection, and what's called insight meditation. Yet, reading scriptures and holy texts isn't enough, for true wisdom isn't mere knowledge. we have to reflect on the teachings and carefully consider them from multiple angles. I guess what I'm trying to say is that practice and meditation go hand in hand. Wisdom arises from stillness, from deep listening, from a place of acceptance. Deep wisdom is profound. It's a profound understanding that also embodies compassion and love. Compassion dissolves separation. It weakens the ego's grip. It opens our heart to the beauty of interconnectedness, and we find that all of our practices are interrelated. While wisdom is the lamp that lights our path, meditation paves the way. It cultivates present moment awareness. It allows us to observe our thoughts and emotions as they arise and without judgment. Through meditation, we learn to detach and let go. We learn to relax and witness the ego's game without getting caught up in it or swept away. We create space for inner peace and clarity. Self-reflection deepens our awareness, while introspection invites us to examine our beliefs and our motives. It challenges us to question our assumptions and our values. This inner work is essential for spiritual growth, but even it is not enough. We also have to integrate our newfound knowledge and meditative insights into our daily lives. This is where daily spiritual practice comes in. We approach the path with the beginner's mind, welcome insights, and allow wisdom to influence how we think, how we speak, and how we act. We integrate the spiritual teachings into our lives and allow them to seep into our bones. We allow our practice to inform our perspectives and influence our choices in the world. Spiritual teachings are powerfully effective, and they'll transform our lives, but we have to diligently apply them. Finally, it's also critically important to lead an ethical and authentic life grounded in the cultivation of virtues. Every spiritual tradition around the world emphasizes moral conduct guided by the holy virtues, and for good reason. For the virtues are the moral compass that guide us down the path to freedom. When we take responsibility for our own inner world and begin working on transforming our thoughts and emotions through practices like meditation, self-reflection, and mindfulness, we begin to see through the ego's game, and we begin to free ourselves from all the negativity, the attachments, our aversions, and the endless cycles of suffering. We begin to develop greater compassion, wisdom, and inner peace. Eventually, through meditation, we can directly experience the emptiness and interdependence of all phenomenon. We can transcend the delusions of the separate self. Now, it's true, a spiritual awakening may happen suddenly, but more likely, liberation from the ego is an ongoing journey. It's a continuous unfolding of awareness. As we begin to recognize and transcend the ego's games, each moment offers an opportunity for continual letting go, for continual learning. Instead of getting caught up in the ego's antics, we can choose to relax into the present moment. We can choose to connect with the deeper truth of our being. Now, I know this journey isn't always easy. The ego is often stubborn. It resists surrender, and it clings to familiar patterns. But with each step, we move closer to freedom and lasting peace. I encourage you to embrace the present moment. Observe your thoughts without judgment. Cultivate compassion for yourself and others. Recognize the interconnectedness of all things. Study the scriptures, cultivate the holy virtues, and lead an authentic and moral life. These are the steps that lead to awakening. These are the practices that lead to liberation. Remember, this is an ongoing journey that requires lifelong dedication to study, reflection, meditation, and practical application. It's not always easy to weaken the egoic sense of a separate self enough to relinquish our attachments and overcome our delusions. The good news is that while the ego's grip is strong, it can be loosened. The path to freedom is open to everyone who seeks it, so please don't put it off. Make your journey the central focus of your life. Embrace your journey. Embrace your awakening. This is how you invite divine grace into your life and dispel the darkness of egoic delusions. This is how you overcome ignorance and awaken to the true nature of reality. Well, that's enough for today. Thanks for watching. Please help others find the channel by subscribing and clicking the like button. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to have an engaging discussion about pride, one of the biggest obstacles we can face. In the meantime, please remember the 3 keys. What are they again? Study, practice, and meditation.